Welcome back to Spearz and Mic's part two of my interview with my wife, GiGi.
All right, here we go. We're just gonna jump right into it, okay? Let's see. Let's go to our questions. Um, so the last question, obviously, we covered already about which hip hop artist that got to you the most. And what was your favorite song of each one of them?
Um, Man, that's crazy because there's so many songs I really wouldn't be able to even narrow it down. Both of them.
Which one kind of draw you to that music? Which song made you get to know them, or kind of, because when you listen to a song or an artist, there's just one song that you're like, and then you go back and you go on YouTube or you go on iTunes and you just start researching like crazy. Who's this person and what are they about? Which one got to you? What song from them got to you?
There's this song with Chino XL. I'm not even sure the name because so many things running through my mind right now. But there's a song where he talks about like his daughter getting cancer, and
I remember that one.
yeah, like it's a song that like really like it makes you emotional, because like it was like his little baby daughter having like some rare cancer, and like as parents, you like hear that, how I felt about it when I first heard it. I wasn't a parent,
Right.
so it hurt then to hear it, and then when you listen to it now, when you're a parent, and you can't even imagine like what you would go through if your children had some type.
And that was probably his outlet, that song,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Letting
And
it
then
all
he
out.
even had that, his daughter speak on it, so it was like that was crazy. And then like for Sean Price, like he's a part of two different groups. So like he has a song called Operation Lockdown, and it's just like, the lyricism is incredible. So like all his verses from that song, um both of them were just like two of my favorites from the underground rap scene.
They both seemed like they were very much into like almost storytelling through their songs.
Yeah, definitely. Storytelling and top-notch lyricism. Nothing that they were like big popular, but like
and again, that goes back to, you knowing these people on a deeper level because they weren't on the radio.
Right. I mean, they were like, earlier on they were on the radio. They did have some mainstream success, but as their careers progressed,
yeah,
things changed.
Unless you knew who they were then,
right.
They kind of,
right. And then the Sean Price, like I had met him at Zulu anniversaries and different functions, like through like hip hop events and whatnot. So I actually met a lot of these artists that I like as well.
That's cool. That's cool. So, which album is your favorite of all times? Like, if this was the last few days, there's nothing left. You can only take like 2 albums with you, max. What would it be? Which one would it be?
I always have to like pick like Michael Jackson's Thriller and Nas's first album, Illmatic. Two of my favorite like records, period. Probably
I think a lot of people would feel the same way, right?
Yeah. Like a lot of people have said Nas's Illmatic, like they will put in a time capsule, like to tell people what what rap or hip hop is, like that would be one, and then Michael Jackson's Thriller. It's
that's
album full of hits. It's
iconic.
Best-selling albums in history.
It won't die out. I feel like there's people that are still. My niece was just listening to it. Remember, Adriana, she was listening to that, and we're both like, "That's not her era," but she loved it, and it brought life.
Yeah, right? Music is timeless. I mean, it may take you back to a certain time where where you remember jamming to it or listening to it, but young people are fans of Michael Jackson. Young people's a fan. Good music is good music. It'll call someone, even if they're from a different generation.
Okay. And what was your first concert?
Man, I don't even remember. I didn't go to like many concerts like in my youth, like because you don't have money to go. But I remember basically going to Zulu Nation anniversaries, and those are kind of like mini concerts.
At what age? What was your favorite Zulu anniversary event?
There was a lot of them. I would say at the New Yorker Hotel, there was like maybe the 34th anniversary. It was like 2006 or 7, something like that. And
do you remember any specific artists that you heard that?
Yeah, I actually saw like that guy Sean Price was performing with the whole group Boot Camp Click, and I actually got put to do security for them. And they declined security, but they didn't tell me like to get out of there, so I just stayed on stage with them.
Front row seats.
Front row, I was backstage with them for a while, talking to them, and like I've kind of like built up, got cool with them. They were mad cool, and they would see me at other events, and they started to recognize me, like, so it was cool.
Okay. So which one was your last concert?
Man, I think I went to the Loud anniversary with my best man, Jerry. He was working for Loud Records, worked for Steve Rifkin, who's the founder of Loud Records, and there was like a Loud anniversary, I think, 25 years. And my man Jerry got us in there, free nonetheless. And I saw all of my favorites from Busta Rhymes to
I remember you sending me videos all night, yeah.
Fat Joe, and I mean, it was just countless like favorites, one after another. So like,
that must have felt like you were on the high.
Yeah, no, it was like a non-stop roller coaster. And then especially being with my best man, who, we sang these songs, rapped these songs.
Someone you left.
Yeah, like I experienced all these songs in my childhood with him, and now we're here like as grown men, like listening to it.
Being able to be there free, like, going back to what you're saying, you didn't have the money to go to a concert even if you wanted to, right?
Right, yeah.
Or like if you went to these concerts, you wanted to dress a certain way and look a certain way, because God forbid you get caught wearing whatnot,
Yeah, no, you gotta look good.
So this is an interesting question. Which collab surprised you the most?
A collab musically?
Yeah.
Jay-Z and Nas, when they made a record together, I didn't expect that. Like, I didn't expect them to be able to bury that, because it was like,
it was deep.
It was serious.
Yeah. It was personal.
And the egos, like, rappers have big egos. Like in hip hop, the goal is to be the best. And
they're both great, right?
They're both great. They're two of the greatest.
They're both timeless with their songs.
And when they, had that situation, I can't imagine how, years later they buried the hatchet and
that one was personal, because it wasn't just I'm talking about you, you're talking about me, we're dissing each other. That one, like,
it was personal.
Personal.
Yeah, it was personal.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Hov slept with his baby mom's Karma.
Right. I mean, I don't get no more personal than that.
It's a filthy move.
Yeah.
So to bury that, shows that they saw like, growth and the big picture, and two greats making music together. And
that it would impact the whole community, right?
Yeah, I mean, it brought, two different, made people feel comfortable, people from Brooklyn and Queens. It's like not everyone, but, the whole Queens was with Nas and the whole Brooklyn was with Hov. And then seeing that record and them bury the hatchet, it's like now everyone could come together. So it felt good for me. Two of my favorites, what I mean?
Well, did it make you feel a certain way that you were so into Nas, but he was in Queens, and then Jay-Z was where you were from?
Yeah.
Did it make you feel like you were kind of like
it's like, yeah. When you're from Brooklyn, you always go Brooklyn no matter what. And, in that case, I didn't go Brooklyn because Nas really speaks to my soul. He's a Virgo. I don't know if it has something to do with us both being Virgos, but I feel like he really
I'm not a Virgo, but I definitely like his music. It's just, to me, he just doesn't, I feel like there's some songs that I've listened to where people are kind of just trying to rhyme. Trying to put like a sentence together, or this matches with this, and it kind of doesn't make sense, or it doesn't hold an entire like storyline. It kind of just jumps. But with him, I feel like when I'm listening to it, going back to that guy that you were talking about, he paints the picture, you understand it, and he stays with it all throughout the song, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's known as one of the better storytellers in hip hop. So, yeah, definitely.
Okay. So we're gonna when were you introduced to Zulu? And let's keep it light and short because I know you get really into it, right? So let's and this is one of the reasons why we met.
Mm.
Somehow because of Zulu. It's just funny, right?
It is.
So I didn't know anything about Zulu, but that's how we ended up together. So when were you introduced to Zulu?
I was introduced to it, I mean, way before I joined, just hearing all these different artists, like my favorite artist, always mentioning it. In the early 90s, like everybody in hip hop was always talking about Zulu Nation, whether it be Fat Joe, Tribe Called Quest, Q-Tip, um, De La Soul, Jungle Brothers. I mean, countless. Like basically everybody in hip hop was mentioning Zulu Nation, Queen Latifah, so on and so forth. So hearing the greatest and the best and the ones that you look up to and you see on TV talk about it, then you read about magazines, you read books about hip hop, and it was just everything was Zulu Nation. You know, the origins from then to now was just dominated hip hop.
It was very influential.
So it called me. It called me, and then I met somebody at a job that I had, and the brother was like a long time member, and I told him like I want to join, and I was 17 years old. He started bringing me around, gave me the lessons, started teaching me, and that was it.
And besides hip hop, you kind of found a family with it, right?
Definitely, yeah. For me, like it it grounded me, because like I was at a very like pivotal point in my youth where you start like being consumed in the neighborhood that you're in, and if you live in a bad neighborhood, you're exposed to all these things, and like I was like not out of control, but like acting out or just
Well, you were also not raised with your dad.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't have no disciplinary figure. I mean, my mother did an excellent job. She did as much as she could do. But how much can a woman control a young man? And then I didn't have that guidance or that, love or that discipline. I had a big void, not having a father for a good portion of my, adulthood and youth. And then meeting all these Zulus that were older than me, and then peers, and they're talking all this positive stuff, and they're giving you all these lessons, and they're putting pressure on you to continue to be positive and really striving for greatness.
Yeah.
So it was like that's what I needed to hear, because if I didn't hear that, I don't think I would have ever went down a positive. I think I would have let the bad neighborhood consume me and maybe even drop out of school. They didn't even allow you to drop out of school. They said, a requirement is that you have to finish high school. And if you don't, we're throwing you out of the organization.
And I feel like it instilled kind of a domino effect for you to spread that positivity. And because even like besides Zulu, even at work, you try to spread, like when you meet all these young guys that are maybe not in the best route or making bad decisions, or so it kind of created a domino effect for life for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, in Zulu, we talk about each one teach one. And like you have to really live by that. And I think like, people have saved me and guided me and put me on the path towards success. And I feel it's my duty as a young man, not even a young man anymore, but like as a grown man, to gravitate towards the youth, listen to them, and then give them the jewelry, give them the good information, because some people don't even care. They'll set you down the wrong path, or they'll just not even care for what people are experiencing. And I hear it and I'm like, oh, I've been there, I've done that. Why don't you do it this way, or take this advice? And I want to give them and build people up, and it's like it's a domino effect, like you said, if I give them those, that information and that love,
You reciprocate that.
and they're gonna build up and grow from that, and it's gonna touch them, and they're gonna want to do the same for someone younger than them. So it's like it's like a vibration and an echo that just keeps going and going.
Which is funny because when we met, and I would you have your friends or families that want to know about this person that you met, right? So whenever I expressed to them or let them know, or they would go into your social media and see Zulu, they thought it was part of a gang.
Yeah.
They thought, or people that were older at my job, they were like, "Well, back then, when we would hear Zulu, we would think gang, we would think problems, we would think, so it's funny that you say that because it was a complete different contrast to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it has when people have not been inside, it's like they judge it from the outside, and um they'll think it's like a gang because it's a large group of people, and people all dressed, maybe like people will see it like, oh, those are a bunch of street thugs, but they're not inside listening to the message that's being said, or we're reading information or sharing, we're doing the community work. They don't see it, they just see it's a large group of people, and it looks intimidating because there's a lot of people that are serious.
Yeah. And I remember you taking me to these meetings or these events that they had.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, I kind of was influenced by what other people that were close to me were saying. So I was thinking, is this part of a gang? Is this part, because that's not something that I wanted as part of my life. But then when I would go to these meetings, I would realize that their intention was to spread positivity, was to, take care of the community. And that was changing for me.
Yeah. Glad you got to see, the real versus, what the misconceptions are.
Mm-hmm. So why was it important to create this podcast?
For me, like, I always talk to the brothers that, I came up with, and, we always tell these stories of our experiences. And I think you've been around for it, where we just
Have I?
we just go down like,
a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
This is why I said before, let's keep that answer latency, because I know personally that it can go down a rabbit hole real quick.
Just so many experiences, like when, imagine, from 17 to 44 years old. And then the brothers that I'm with, some of them have been Zulu from 15, 14 years old, and they're my age now. So it's like so many experiences, so many stories, so many people that we know, hundreds and hundreds of people, all these stories. And it's like, I tell these stories based on my experiences, and there's so much to be told. And I wanted to bridge a gap from the elders that I'm cool with and the ones that influenced me, because they have incredible stories from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. And then I have these stories from the 90s, the 2000s, and so on and so forth. So
you wanted to make it like a library almost.
Yeah, like I wanted to interview the figures, because, we're not promised tomorrow, and we'll call back to the creator. I want to preserve their stories, my stories, our stories, and be able to just connect, bridge everything. You know what I mean? Rather than me have to tell people, oh, so and so told me this is how it went. I want people to hear it from their own self, so that they can know what took place in the Bronx, Brooklyn, New York City, because it's history. It's actually history. It's not just Zulu. It's hip hop. It's life changing. You know what I mean? It's influential to thousands.
Different. Yeah.
So I wanted to just bring all those stories together and be able to show the world who we are, so that they don't have to hear it, they could see it.
Personally, firsthand,
and get to know these dope stories.
And I think this is what everybody's doing now, kind of using social media to spread awareness or to keep a library per se, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's dope that you guys are actually also doing a video recording along with the podcast, because a lot of time we just kind of log into a podcast and you don't get to see the facial expressions. You don't, or you might miss out, because once you put this on YouTube, it kind of just keeps going.
Yeah, no, I want it to live forever, and something for, like, my daughters or my children to see what my passion was, what my hobbies are, my thoughts, my views. Of course, they're gonna get the message from me firsthand, but this will be a little bit different. Children will want to uncover their parents, like what made them think, who made him that way. And I want people to see like, and it to be preserved, so that my children could like watch these videos.
It's almost like a photo album, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a photo album.
Like how we used to back in the day. I remember we had like 100 photo albums in the closet with just pictures of pictures.
Still got them.
Excuse me.
Still got them.
Thank you. What's that now?
Still got those photos because they're important. You got to preserve the history, the history, and people got to see the growth. The growth is important.
Okay. Sounds good. And why? What is the name of this podcast and why is it? Can you explain to your followers and viewers?
Yeah, the name behind Spearz and Micz is Spearz, like words and information is like it's like a weapon, it's like knowledge is power, right? So the spear is something that's carrying like a message. um so being that we're all Zulu, we didn't want it to be necessarily be called like the Zulu podcast. Spears, like the Zulus were armed with the spears, right? But we're armed with the information, so it's not really like a spear as a weapon, but the spear is the information that we're spreading it. And then, it's through the microphone. So we're like giving you the weapons, the information, the power through the microphone. So that's why we call this Spearz and Micz. We wanted it to have something tied to Zulu. Because when people hear that, they're like, spears, well, who carries the spears? Zulus carry the spears. What's giving you the information through the microphone. So that's why we call it Spearz and Micz.
I'm glad that you kind of didn't put the actual Zulu name in it.
Yeah.
Because I know that you not just wanted to not separate yourself, but because of what's happened in the past, you kind of, for me, I always wanted you to kind of have your own thing, your own identity, and bring something up because I know the influence that you have and what you wanted to do going forth. So I'm glad that you guys, selected the name, and it's nice to know why. It kind of almost has like a spiritual thing to it,
No, definitely.
because the tongue is very powerful. What you say is energy. And what you put out there comes back. You give it life or you give it death, right?
And when we're telling these stories, we wanted to connect to people that are like-minded so that they could be, carry the stories or the information, and hopefully it empowers people, motivates people,
or
educates people to learn the actual hip-hop culture, learn more about Zulu as an organization, and just see like what New York is about. Like historically, there's a lot of stories coming from New York and around the world.
That is interesting. I never thought about it in that way.
Yeah.
That you're kind of spreading this out from New York.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah. No, it's important.
Okay. So, I mean, the next question you kind of answered it, which was, what is your ultimate goal, right? But you kind of answered that. So, what podcast do you listen to the most?
I think I listen to Drink Champs with Nori the most. It's like some of my favorite artists are always being featured on there, favorite people in hip hop. And I listen to that. But I also listen to a lot of Mafia podcasts because I'm like big on like, New York history. Like the Mafia is a part of New York history. I don't necessarily like it because of the crime, or I just like I'm influenced by people with power. And I like to hear stories of people that had power and what they did with that power. Unfortunately,
how they were influenced,
right? And it's an influential thing. Even like the Mafia's like influenced hip hop with people with the names and the Mafia movies and so forth.
And it's still a domino effect because it still goes on today.
Yeah, all of that. So I listen to stuff about them, and it's good to like learn from people's mistakes and what their experiences were
and their stories. Yeah,
their story. Yeah, it's a big New York history. I love anything historical, like from New York, from back in the days.
Okay. So, if you can have one famous person to interview in your podcast, who would it be and why? And I want you to be very intentional with this response because who knows, right?
Yeah, I mean, anything is
laws
possible.
of attraction. So,
anything is possible. I would say it'd have to be Nas. I think I think the brothers that I co-host with, all of us would vibe well with Nas. And Nas is like, of course, he knows about Zulu. Like a lot of, his first album was produced by, some of it was produced by Q-Tip, and he's mentioned Zulu Nation and Zulu in a lot of his songs throughout the years. So it would be dope to connect with him. pick his brain on some of the like, deeper things. Not just like about his music. Like I want to know, like when he talked about his Project Windows, he has a song called Project Windows, and that spoke to me because when I was young, I was looking out the window and I saw
That's
he
what
saw
you were picturing, yeah.
right. So that song spoke to me. I want to talk about like, what really like made him actually thinking about put that in a song. Like,
and I'm sure so many people can relate.
it was crazy because it was really like the TV didn't have as much action as the window did, you know what I mean? So, and it wasn't just me. We used to always see people looking out the window. And for him to make that song, it was like, wow.
And when you say that, I kind of, I mean, I didn't grow up in the projects, but when you say Project Windows and you talk about how there was so much action out there, I also can think about just a window to someone's life, right? Like, you can look into, someone's experiences or, so that's a good question. I would be interested in knowing that information also. So, I mean, now if you hear this,
Yeah,
if you just want to, yeah, absolutely. Or if you just want to answer that question, that would be dope also.
Yeah,
We'd like that.
Yeah, make it happen now. Spearz.
All right. Well, let's see. So, how do you think the music will change from this generation to when our kids will become young adults? Where do you see the music going?
Well, I think, everything comes full circle. So like when we look at like music now, it's a little bit raunchy, it's violent, it's like somewhat classless, it's just it's not soulful. It doesn't speak to people's souls. So I think like it always comes full circle. So what they're talking about now is it's gonna pass and then it's gonna go back to deep thoughts.
Almost like fashion.
Like right, it comes and it goes. And right now that's the now, but like it'll go back to the soulful, influential, powerful, you know what I mean? Kind of like where it once was. And I think like people will just get tired of, the trash and call for like
they would want more, right?
Right.
They want to listen to more
and more.
Actual like an actual art.
Yeah, we want, and not to say that everything is trash in general. Like things. There's still great music being put out and all.
Something that you can relate to in real life, right?
Yeah, something that's gonna be thought provoking and move you, touch your soul. You know what I mean? Yeah. You hear that record and you got to play it 10 times because it spoke to you, like, and it moved you. That's the type of records and music that we need. Not stuff that's gonna influence you or bring your vibration down, but to bring your vibration higher. Bring your energy level higher.
You want to listen to creativity.
Want to create, and push you to move in a positive way. That's whether it's through love, whether it's through, deep lyrics, because music will heal your pain. You could have like going through stress or trauma and all types of pain, and you hear a song that uplifts your spirits and actually heals you. That's what we
changes your energy.
Changes your energy and maybe gives you an escape from that pain for the moment.
And I just feel like also people should be very careful to what they listen to when they listen to it, because I've noticed just driving to work based on the decision I make of what song to put on. That's kind of the vibe that goes into the rest of the day, right?
Yeah, it's true. Like even when I'm driving at work, I spend like probably 70% of my time driving for work. And if I'm listening to DMX or Mobb Deep and someone cuts me off and they give me the middle finger, I might want to jump out and attack them. You know what I mean? Like, but if I'm listening to something a little bit more relaxing, I'll just let them. Whatever. I'm not gonna pay it no mind.
Absolutely. And when you were talking about that, like it comes full circle. One of the things I've noticed that doesn't happen as much is music videos. Like going back to when I was watching 106 in Park coming home from school. That was one of the things that I loved. It was coming home to watching that video constantly. We're playing, was it on the top? Was it on the 1, 2, whatever the case it was? I mean, for me, those videos influence my style, influence like the way we look, hairstyle, everything, and I kind of miss that, right? Like you no longer see that. What you see is you log into Instagram, you see a reel or maybe like a short clip on YouTube, or you try to look up a video from a song that just came out and it just be bogus. Like it's not the actual video, you know?
Yeah, and like you just stumble upon videos by accident.
Right.
Like, oh, that song came out 5 years ago. I didn't know they made a video. This television has changed, music has changed, like, but there's still a lot of videos out, but the videos aren't even the same.
Promoted. They're not promoted.
They're not promoted, and they're not even the quality of the video is like it's not even like before they used to actually have like
an actual
like a movie.
Right.
Now it's just like a green screen, and they're pretending they're on a yacht. They're pretending they're doing this. It's fake. It's all like fake imagery.
And just what is shown on these videos now, it becomes repetitive and it becomes boring. There's really no art. I mean, you would just see a bunch of women shaking their ass and that's it.
Right.
You don't really see art. Like you don't even see a storyline. It is just like bam, 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 but here to say like there's really no like art to it, you know? But I remember watching videos that it had a storyline and I enjoyed it. And
it was regular people. It was innocence, and like we would look at the girls beauty, like
natural beauty.
We would look at the girls like in the videos, and it was just regular girls like wearing like a regular t-shirt, regular cheap sneakers. Like now we're so deep into this like high-end fashion, like the stuff that people can't even afford, and they're made up. Like no one walks around like that. That's not real.
Right.
It's like a deception, like, you know.
Which sucks because the upbringing for our generation kind of feels like they have to like kind of be that at all times.
Like,
so everybody's kind of wearing a mask at all times. Like no one is looking natural. No one is it's just sad.
Yeah, it's like
and everybody's starting to look the same, right?
Yeah, everyone's out of control, and like I just want things to be simple again. Like like why does everyone have to have the
organic,
like high end fashion? Like just be yourself.
Well, I feel for I don't feel that way though. I feel like high end fashion was always a thing,
but it wasn't amongst the masses.
Like I remember Gucci being a really like strong thing back then.
Yeah, I mean people had it, but now it's like that's it. Like it's
a daily thing. It's
no regular stuff.
Right, it's a daily thing. Like if we go, I don't know, on vacation, everyone is wearing a Gucci slide, which you know it is what it is. But point is, I would love to see these videos. I would love for it to be like more organic, because you know, our kids could come home from school and be like on YouTube watching these videos, relating, singing to it, and it brings people together.
Right, definitely. Right? Yeah, definitely. It's like now you can't put music videos on because you don't want your children to see all like this crazy half naked women and
because you don't want
half naked men
influenced by that, right?
Yeah, and then like the imagery be crazy. It'd be like, you know, demonic type stuff or like, negative imagery. So it's like you don't want your children seeing that. We don't.
You gotta be careful with that too.
Yeah, we don't allow like that stuff in our home to like even like any of that negativity to be put through the speakers or on the screen. You know what I mean? Like
that can happen rather fast, without you even knowing. You know. And even just like us as adults, not just kids, like we're still being influenced by that. You know, if we're listening to like a specific song where let's say the woman is mad at her man, you might just come up with a thought and be like, I'm mad at you. Now that created a thought in my head.
Like I tell my wife sometimes she'll be like on Netflix and she'll be watching like all these Tyler Perry movies and it's all about cheating and backstabbing and all this crazy. And I'm like, yo, why are you watching this? Like,
I mean, I like
thoughts.
Right. I get
and it makes. As soon as the movie's over, she looking at me sideways like, yeah, let me look through his phone and see if I see anything.
Right.
You know, and it's like, instead of like...
Again, influence.
Right. It's influence instead of to be distrustful and look at me sideways. Whereas a movie should make her want to like love her husband more, be closer, connect with... But it's actually, some of these films draw you apart and make you distrustful of your partner. You know what I mean? So I don't like those type of movies like...
Right.
You know, it's all drama and negativity, and it controls your thoughts and your actions.
Right. Well, what about another thing that I wanted to talk about? It just slipped my mind as you just started to talk. Jesus. Oh, okay. So going back, so how do you feel now? There's more women out there that are rapping and that are in the music industry. How do you feel about that? Is there one that you specifically like that you kind of see a full-on career with, or
Female wise, like in hip hop, I mean, you know, two of them that I like will be Shay Noir from Buffalo and Rhapsody. They're like two of the more lyrical females in the industry. I like their stories. I like the way they express themselves. I like how they carry themselves and whatnot. So like I listen to those two females. To me, they're like the best of all the women, and there's more as well. But
do you feel like women are going to be coming out more, or
there's a big wave of women, I think, in hip hop. And I wish them success. You know, I think women need their. It's time for women to.
our platform?
Yeah, it's the era of the woman. You know, like I'm for empowerment for women. I want equality for women, and I think this is their era. You know, like it's a male dominated industry, hip hop music. Also, like I want to see the women be successful, but I also want to see it be classy and
Right.
And it's not just like because the men ain't classy either, but I would love to see the women be with their clothes on and talking positive things and influencing young women to be young ladies versus rather than dressing like a stripper or being negative. So if you're a female MC, have a positive message to the
Challenge yourself.
young sisters, because the women are very vulnerable, and you got to empower them versus influencing them to be negative.
And it's important, I feel like, for women to be okay with being women. Like being not, I don't mean it in a way like being soft and I mean like it's okay to be us, because you can't just have both. You can't have like, the Bill version and also be a Bill version. I mean, we could both agree that I can be strong at times, right?
Very strong.
But, that's what makes me me. But I also have that nurturing side to me, that soft side. And we also got to see that from women. It's okay to have that and not to come out with songs that is just be so strong and so dominant and have to prove a point, because like you said, the industry is dominated by male, but it would be beautiful to see a woman come out with a song that would be kind of soft, kind of feminine, and still be a hit record.
Right.
And that again will influence women to be like that and women to want to dress more feminine, more girly,
Yeah, cover.
Because now women are also dressing either there's no in between. Either they're showing everything or they're dressing like men now, right?
Yeah.
Like you're seeing that now also, right?
I've seen it. But just be who you are, but always keep in mind you're following. When you're in the public, whether it's through television, whether it's through music, whether it's through social media, you have a following and you're influential. So when you're influential, you got to really know that all eyes are on you, and the energy that you put out is gonna make other people attract to that energy. So be positive, be influential, put people on the right path, empower people. That's what you got to do with your fame.
Absolutely. So just to wrap it up, is there a question? Because he asked me earlier while we were having dinner. He said, was I nervous? And I was like, not really. I wasn't thinking about it. I was just doing, my motherly things, being with my kids, feeding them. And I said, well, are you? What was your response?
I'm never nervous. Like I told her, I've been, interviewed for like, important magazines like Rolling Stone and different publications. So like, I'm not ever like.
So I was wondering, well, are you not nervous with me? Like,
no.
But that wasn't it. What brought of the question was, yes, you have been interviewed by several people. Um, was there ever a question that you wanted someone to ask you because you wanted to spill out a specific information?
Yeah, yeah. What is family to me? You know,
Mm.
that's to me like the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like if you ask me what is family to me, family is being a son, right? That's my first role as in being family, being a son. I want to be a good son to my mother, to my father. Um, then in my next role, brother, I want to be a great brother to my sister. You know what I mean? Who I love very much, of course. Like I love my mother and my father.
The best person ever.
Yeah,
I got like
definitely.
the best sister-in-law
My
ever.
sister's very a beautiful person, and a great auntie too,
Absolutely.
an incredible auntie,
Mm-hmm.
and an incredible sister. But beyond that, you know, then my next role, you know, after being a son and after being a brother is being a husband.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's been an incredible journey and an incredible learning experience. And I want to, you know, take the opportunity now to give my wife the love and the props for making me a better man. Because when you have a woman that truly loves you, she is along for the ride because there's highs and lows in marriage, you know, there's struggles, there's challenges, and we've faced a lot of challenges and a lot of struggles, ups and downs, and it's two people that are growing together.
Right.
People grow apart at times and people grow in different directions, but we've always found a way to like bring it back in and balance it and accept one another and work through things versus giving in, you know. And now we got 13 years together, and what is the fruit from that 13 years? We got two beautiful daughters. That's my next role after being a husband, you know, being a father. And ultimately that is the most important thing that I could ever be, is a father. And for many years I've raised a lot of young people that have been around me and always wanted to give them the greatest message and the greatest energy
They look
and the
like you like a
greatest love.
father.
Right. People have they said you're like my father. And that felt incredible. But to now be an actual father and walk through the door and see my two beautiful daughters, and they open their arms and they're running to me and they're shuffling their feet and they're laughing and you know, the hug and the touching of my face and the kisses. It's incredible. You know, it's an incredible feeling.
I feel like that's our purpose in life. Absolutely.
It is. It's the fuel to do great things. It's the fuel to be the best father, you know, because it's about learning. Every day is a lesson. Every day is about learning. And she's not a perfect mother. I'm not a perfect father. No one's perfect. We're not perfect beings. We're flawed beings. But every day we're learning how to love our children better, how to teach them better. And it is so incredible to watch children grow. So like, you know, it's been an amazing experience for me to go through that with you. I'm honored to be your husband, to be the father of your children. And I just want to keep building our home, keep reaching our goals, and keep raising these two beautiful little girls to be the best and the most productive beings that they could possibly be.
Absolutely.
You know, and for them to be surrounded by love, you know, faith, and
To give them
support.
something that we didn't have, because I also was not raised with my father. So seeing my kids like kind of having such a great dad, you know, like it kind of heals me as an individual, and the little girl inside of me gets healed every day by seeing, you know, what you're doing. And remember, like those are domino effects that we put into our kids also. What they see is what they will experience, is what they would want, is what the traumas or tribulations that they will go through, right? So yeah, like I appreciate that. I appreciate your shout out. I wasn't forcing him to do that. He did it on his own.
No, it was all natural, you know.
And I love that you shared that, you know, this generation, I've had so many conversations with so many people that don't want kids or don't want a partner, you know, and it's so sad because then to me, and we kind of speak about this a lot, right?
Oh yeah. So
You know, like what is the purpose to life then? Like if you are not looking to share these special moments, like what you could do, for example, a lot of people are either focusing on their careers or focusing on going out, whatever the case is. When you finally go home and all of that is said and done, who do you share it with?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like who do you, besides your friends, because your friends, whatever, you know, like you'll let them know, hey, this happened. Oh, cool, that's what's up. All right. But you know, like who do you share it with?
Right.
Who do you sit down with in a couple of years and be like, damn, we built that.
Right.
You know, or like we started from the bottom and look who we have become.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much things for us to learn. We're not perfect. We have a lot of growing to do and a lot of healing to do. But when you find someone that would be kind of your backbone through that, it just makes it that much easier because life is hard already. Like even as parents, it's hard. You know, we both work full time. We both have kids. We have an amazing village that takes care of our kids. You know, like our parents, and but life is hard. So you know, I want to be an influence because we've been talking a lot about influence, right? I want to be influential to people that may look up to us or even people that you don't know. Like you could literally be in the street just having a conversation, having a cup of coffee with your husband, and they look at your rings and they look at the way the man has treated the woman, that the woman has treated the man.
Mm-hmm.
And that would like open something on inside of them. Like, hey, I wish I had that, you know?
Yep.
So definitely, you know, like
it's when people see two strong people like that are giving love to their children and we're not cursing and acting a mess, and they see us like, you know, wow, they put together, you know, look at that, two, you know, good looking people with beautiful children. They're like there's love around, circulating around them. It's like a force around them, and it's influential. People say, wow, look at that, I want to have that, you know. Because I've seen it. I've seen some of my friends, you know, that were blessed with two parents in a house. And, you know, like seeing that, I was like, you know,
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, one of my good friends, he was like one of the few that had both parents and they had a beautiful house with a pool right in the middle of the, you know, bad neighborhood. And that was influential to me to go there every day with them and see that family dynamic that I did not have. And it's like I want that, you know. I wanna have all of that, like all that love, all of that experience, and you know I've been blessed to have it now. And you grow as a parent, like, you know, you're not just raising your children are kind of raising you too. They're pushing you to adulthood, for parenthood. They're teaching you stuff and they're testing you, you know, and they're making you stronger, and you got to be stronger for them.
I remember like speaking to a much older person. He must have been like 86, and I like to always ask this question, see either my patients or, you know, just anyone I meet that's a lot older or that has had a successful marriage or business, you know, what advice can you give me? And one of the things he had mentioned was learn how to grow together, right? Because like you mentioned before, you know, I'm not the same person that you met 13 years ago and you're not, you know, but it's important to learn each other, allow each other to grow and respect that and give that space, but also to love, you know, that journey, you know, and to help someone go through that journey. Because I feel like this generation, the moment things get hard, it's like on to the next one. I don't need this. This is why I don't want to be in a relationship. This is why I don't want kids. No, the challenge of life should be when things hit the fan, what are you going to do? How do you react? That is the person that this is who you show who you are. Are you going to show your weaknesses? Are you going to be influenced by, you know, just walking out the door like everybody else does? Or are you going to hold your ground and make sure that your foundation is concrete?
Right. That's the easy way too, is to abandon ship and you know, you think the grass is greener elsewhere, but then you go into another situation and you know how it is when you're with someone, you don't even know the real them until a few years,
Mm-hmm.
because you think somebody's better looking or,
Mm-hmm.
they're have a certain energy, but you don't even know if that energy is authentic.
Right.
So you're attracted to that energy, you go that way, and then ultimately you find out that isn't even the real them. And
Mm-hmm.
now you just ruined your family to be with somebody that was just a temporary spark,
Mm-hmm.
and you threw away a flame, that you had,
Mm-hmm.
and you built a foundation, you built a family, and people will uproot that for like the smallest of temptations.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like a form of weakness, and it's almost deception
Right.
by like the devil himself, like
And that's
deceive
again,
you.
it goes back to music because you're influenced by that.
Right.
You're influenced by what you hear, but by what you see, and a lot of these artists and this, you know, everything is like walk away.
Yeah.
We do better.
Yeah.
On to the next one.
Yeah.
Like
Right. It's giving you the wrong message,
mhm.
and people are dead following it.
That's what sells,
Like it's
but
the
that's not
truth.
reality.
Yeah.
And if people don't continue to have kids, then like a generation is to fall and a generation is to be non-existent.
Right.
You
It's
know.
just like people say like the gangsters is the ones beating people up and shooting, and the real gangsters, the working man, the working woman, the
Mm-hmm.
ones that's doing it for their families day in and day out.
That's hard to do it every single day.
It's hard to be consistent, and it's hard to like, sometimes your boss is like an idiot,
Mm-hmm.
and you get an instruction from somebody that's a complete bozo.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever, you got to listen to the boss. So sometimes you have to like be humble, and just push forward, and know that great
Have a
days coming.
purpose. Have a purpose, right? Like a lot of people nowadays are also, and this is just quickly because I mean you and I could talk for hours.
We could talk till this battery dies.
You know, to work towards something, like don't live in the now. Don't just focus on the right now. Try to always think about the future. Have a tunnel vision to a goal. Because I remember when we first met, right? Like your dad was always encouraging us save money, buy a house. And him and I had just graduated and I just started my first real job. And I was like, we want to travel the world.
Yeah.
But we both have said if we can go back, we would do things a little bit different.
Right.
So have a goal. Like don't live in the now. Like all these people are influencing you on Instagram. Like, oh, she went to I don't know Dubai, but yet they live. I don't know.
Get your living, put your priority in, building an economic base.
Right.
And, like getting a better living conditions, You
Mhm.
don't, if you're in a small apartment, get a bigger apartment.
Right.
If you're in a bad neighborhood, get into a good neighborhood.
And like I want you guys to believe that it is possible. Again, going back to laws of attraction, it's possible because he comes from the projects. I don't come from the best of neighborhoods, but I did grow up with a family that had a house at one point, and I saw those things. What we both wanted was better,
Yeah.
right? And at one point, we kind of even didn't believe that we can own property in the United States or New York or whatever the case is.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it was attainable, but she was determined because she was like she had her heart set, and she had to really convince me to buckle down with the spending.
Again, this is why partnership is important, right?
It really is.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have did it by myself. I didn't have the motivation or
The vision.
the vision to
Right.
think that it was even possible. And she was like, "No, we're gonna do this. We're gonna move. We're gonna get a house. Like we got to do this for our
And
family,
it's all
for
for
ourselves."
generational wealth.
Yeah. So
Think beyond now.
and all praises due. We did it. Um, and it's been the best decision and the best sacrifice and the best struggle. And it's not easy, but you got to buckle down and make it happen because
It's possible.
yeah, it's we didn't think it was possible, but it's very possible. Just budget your money, and think about economic freedom and think about generational wealth for your family.
Right.
Like you would love for your family your parents to pass you down, not even a fortune, but just to leave you good, leave you something.
Give your future a name, right? Give your future like don't just be I'm Geraldine, right? But don't just be Geraldine. my generation will, will grow on. Well, she was this and she left this, and this is where it all started. Like, I don't want people to just constantly think about the now, because that's what Instagram does to you, like social media.
Right.
It is like, what are we doing right now? It is about me.
What I'm hearing right now, what I'm
Right.
eating right now,
Mhm.
what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, yeah. And you could do both, right? You could live your life on a budget, and you can also build a concrete lifestyle for your kids, for yourself. And just because when we're gone, let's say we were gone tomorrow, like, here we are, we have a property,
Yeah.
and our kids will stay with that.
Yeah.
So, I'm so proud of us, how far we have come.
Yeah.
And I could tell that our parents are proud. And I could also tell that this lifestyle that we provide for our children is completely different from ours.
Oh, definitely.
Like, I'm so happy that we have a backyard and several rooms for our kids to go around. And the reason we're saying this is not to be like, oh, this is what we have.
Right.
It's just because I want you guys to know and to believe that it is possible. And especially in this generation, like, you guys have all the open doors, all the right paths, all the, like, everything. Like, it's there. You just have to work with it and through it, and work hard.
Yeah.
Okay? So be influenced by positivity. Be careful what you listen to. Be surrounded with good people,
That's the key. I want to pause right there. Surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded and thinking positively, and that are striving for power moves. Don't, it may hurt to cut off friends that are stagnant or not about nothing, but it'll be a big blessing for you moving forward to, you could love people from a distance. It doesn't mean that you got to say we're enemies, we're not friends. You don't got to cut no one off, but you got to spend less time with the ones that don't want to do nothing and more time with the ones that are about action and the ones that got big goals and that are striving for things and obtaining, that they're reaching those goals.
And it's okay.
Be closer to them.
Right, it's okay, because I mean, in order for you to grow, like, when you have a plant, right, and you bought it in a pot like this size, if you're watering it, if you're giving it fruit, if you're giving it sunlight, eventually you're gonna have to take that plant out of that pot and put it into a bigger pot. So it's okay to change your environment. It's okay to change your surroundings. It's okay. Like, you want to surround yourself with people that are not gonna question, or look at you crazy when you give them an idea. Like, well, this is what I'm planning to do. This is the business I want to do. You want people to be like, well, I got this person that has a connection. I have to, instead of someone being like, nah, dude, that's not it. Like, let's do this. Like, that ain't going to work out. Well, that's going to take too much money. Well, I don't even think that's going to work out.
Right, a circle full of resourceful people,
right,
and people that encourage you. When she was talking about buying a house, like a friend of hers or someone had told her, "Why you want a house? You don't need a house."
Yeah,
like.
And this is a close person.
And that's not the right energy to share.
Yeah.
Like, you got to question when someone says something. Like, why would you try to like break someone down from reaching a goal or reaching or striving towards their dreams? So when people tell you, oh, you should like don't worry about that. Like, let's make this trip or let's
make this easy money.
Yeah, let's or whatever. Like, be very careful with people leading you down the wrong path of trying to crush your dreams. Your dreams are your dreams and your life is your life, and if you got a vision and a dream, then you got to make it happen.
Be determined
And be dedicated to taking those steps towards reaching those goals.
Just be like an ox, head down and keep going forward, and don't just be mindful of who you have in your circle, who you share your ideas with.
Right. Like, sometimes you gotta say less.
Say less. Be very slow to speak and very quick to listen. But now we're gonna wrap this up. I am very grateful to be a part of your podcast. I just want to let you guys know from my perspective that takes a lot for my husband to do these episodes. You know, we have 2 young girls and a household and working full time, and me in the picture. You know, it's hard, and I can tell that he is determined for this to be successful. I can tell that he wants to spread, like, he has an intention, and he's been full on head forward with it, and I'm proud of you. I know it's not easy at times. Maybe at times I don't make it easy just because life is hard and I need all hands on deck. But it's so nice to see someone that you love, you know, have such passion for something and actually, you know, do something about it. Because, you know, a lot of people, there's so many like gifts out there and so many. And like I always tell him, like he knows how to speak well. He has the information. He could do this. So it's so nice that you're actually putting action to it. You know, I know it's not easy, and
No, it's not, but you know.
So definitely show support, spread the word, you know, be a part of this community. And we also want to learn. We also want to hear. We also want, you know, I'm sure you want more interview and give him ideas. Like, hey, we want to see this person. Be involved. And maybe he can make that happen. And Nas, I know that you heard this somehow, some way. Hopefully it gets to you. That would be dope. That would be nice, you know.
Yeah, it would be amazing and a great honor.
Yeah.
But you know, let's see what happens. You know?
I mean, laws of attraction, baby. We might come back to this episode and be like, hey, you remember when we said that? Well, it just came true.
Definitely.
But thank you for having me, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode. If you guys want more of me, I'm more than welcome to come back, and I hope that you have a successful podcast. I wish you the absolute best.
Thank you. Thank you for your wisdom and your energy and your time. I love you very much.
Love you guys. Bye.
Peace.